Rosa Parks was born in Tuskegee, Alabama on February 4th, 1913, to her parents James and Leona McCauley. She also had a brother named Sylvester. Her family strongly valued education, and when she was 11 years old, her family moved to Montgomery, Alabama. She would later attend high school there at the Alabama State Teachers College for Negroes. She left at 16 in early 11th grade because she needed to care for her dying grandmother and shortly thereafter her chronically ill mother. At age 19, she would go on to marry a man called Raymond Parks, who was 10 years her senior. He was strongly involved in the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, or the NAACP. With his support, she was finally able to go back and receive her high school diploma. Rosa and Raymond were also well-respected members of the African American community. They lived in an area that coexisted with white people, but was heavily segregated by Jim Crow laws. These laws made it so that African American people could not drink out of the same water fountain unless it was labeled colored, and had to check out books from a colored-only library. They could also only attend certain schools that were inferior to the whites-only schools. Rosa became a prominent member of the Montgomery chapter of the NAACP to fight against this type of segregation. On December 1st, 1955, a 42-year-old Rosa Parks was on her way home from working as a seamstress. She sat herself in the first row of the colored section-only seats. Laws at this time stated that if there was no seats empty on the bus and a white person was left without a seat, African American passengers were supposed to give up their seat for that white person. On this day, all the seats had been taken and the white man was left standing as he got on the bus. The driver asked 4 African American people to move and give up their seats. Rosa was one of them. The other 3 people complied, but Rosa did not. She would go on later to state in her biography that people will always say that I didn't give up my seat because I was tired, but that isn't true. I was not tired physically. No, the only tired I was tired of giving in. Because she refused to move out of her seat, the police were called and she was arrested and fined. This moment of our history was vital to the advancement of the civil rights movement. When word of her arrest got around, chapter president Edgar Daniel Nixon began to wonder if this was the start of a new era of civil rights movement. On December 5th, the Monday after her arrest, all African Americans of Montgomery, Alabama boycotted the buses by not riding them anywhere. They walked, they rode bikes, or they carpooled. Because of the momentum of the movement, they formed the Montgomery Improvement Association, or the MIA, to manage the boycott, and they elected Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. as the president. Their goal was to get the bus system fully integrated. Because of that, many people refusing to ride the buses, thousands of dollars were lost, and on November 13, 1956, the Supreme Court ruled that bus segregation was unconstitutional. The boycott ended December 20th. This was not by any means the end to the civil rights movement. In reality, this was only the beginning of that fight. But because of Rosa Parks and her refusal to give up her seat, she paved the way for many civil activists.